Good evening and welcome to FL Stanton Elementary School's Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been attached for you and publicly noticed. I am pleased to call this meeting to order for FL Stanton Elementary School. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take the roll.
Okay, as the roll goes, we have Quaylin McIntyre,
Present.
Ashley Hendricks, Malika Lumumba, Tiffany Coleman, Ashley Herbert,
Present.
Stephanie Powell, of course me, Jessica Tucker,
Present.
Judy Lamore,
Present.
Elijah Sullivan,
Present.
and Candace Allen.
Present.
Is there quorum present?
There is a quorum.
We do have quorum, so we may proceed with our agenda. So our first order of business is to approve the agenda. It is attached inside of the chat, and it was also posted on our Go Team site. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve, Judy Lamore.
A second?
I second Ashley Herbert.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye, Jessica Tucker.
I, Judy Lamore.
Elijah Sullivan.
I, Candace Allen.
I, Stephanie Powell,
I, Ashley Herbert.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Our agenda has been approved. We will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes were also attached to the chat and they were posted on our Go Team site. There was a correction that was rectified beforehand with the Go Team office. And it has already been corrected. When we voted for Elijah Sullivan last meeting, it was for the community seats. So that has since been corrected in the system and on our minutes. May I have a motion to approve the meeting's minutes?
Motion to approve, Judy Lamore.
A second?
I second Ashley Herbert.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye, Jessica Tucker.
I, Judy Lamore.
I,
I,
Ashley
Elijah
Herbert.
Sullivan.
I, Candace Allen.
I, Stephanie Powell,
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. Our meeting's minutes have been approved. We are going to follow our agenda. We have discussion items. We have a discussion item, which is the budget development presentation, but we also have an action item that goes with that following it. We will have the budget feedback presentation. Our principal will walk us through their proposed school's draft budget, which was shared with everyone before the meeting. After the presentation, we'll have a discussion about how the budget aligns with our school's strategic plan. As we review the budget, it's important to focus on how any adjustments from the district's baseline funding support our school's goals. This is an opportunity for us as a goal team to provide feedback and ensure that our school is making the most of its available resources. Dr. McIntyre, you have the floor.
Okay. Give me just a second. This is so much easier when you have two screens. Let's see. All righty. There we go. Here's the front page. So we've gone over the agenda. I do want to share that where we are in the budget development process timeline. So we have gone through step one, which was to finalize our strategic plan and to rank the objectives. We have participated in the district-wide budget allocation training. Everyone needed to complete that prior to today. We've had some discussions as principals with associate superintendents to just kind of help us to wrap our heads around the budget to get us to a place where we are able to present today. So we are now at step four, the Go Team feedback meeting. This is to be completed before our staffing conference. And so I want to outline kind of the purpose for that. Then the next step is that the associate superintendents will review, and then we will have our staffing conferences with human resources the latter part of February. And then we will bring what was finalized in the staffing conference back to the Go Team to be able to finalize that with our governance board, you as well. So where we are right now with the feedback, with the feedback meeting, is that I want to be able to share. So you've had some perspective from the district. I want to be able to share with you the perspective of where we are as a school with what that means for FL Stanton. So I want to take a moment to I'm going to kind of go back a little bit in order to be able to push us forward. So we are here. This is our strategic plan. So I just want to ground our thinking in this first, so that our mission, our vision, our strategic goals are around ELA or literacy, math, science, as well as attendance. So we've added in a piece, and then what we've finalized has been our connection to what the district priorities are as well. So, in strengthening our instructional core, increasing the mastery of content knowledge, implementing strategic writing initiative. Under We Are Caring for Every Child, sustaining that school culture that we know is conducive for students to be successful. Sparking student curiosity, that's where our STEAM sits. Our strength in our team is where we are trying to build staff capacity and also give staff opportunities for leadership as well. Our responsibility is shared, meaning we're trying to make sure that the community is informed and engaged in all of these pieces. And then our school is efficient and effective, is systematically determining what resources we need to best support the student needs so that we can make sure that we're growing towards proficiency. So in that, we then ranked the priorities. And this was our ranking that we agreed on from I believe our last meeting. So 1 to 8, this is how our objectives that we're meeting those priorities. This is how our objectives kind of balanced out. based on our voting. So I want us to keep these things in mind. So if we think about it in the context of we are ensuring that the student experience remains the same. We also want to ensure that teaching and learning is happening and happening at high levels so that students are working towards mastery. We also want to be able to support staff to be able to make that happen. And then we want to make sure that the community is engaged at all times. So that's kind of where everything lands. So, with that, I want to explain to you some of the tabs that we're going to be looking at today. We're going to look at a summary tab. Well, you know what? Before I go there, let me take us to the allocation. I want us to see where we landed. I want us to ground it in that with what we actually received. I feel like that's important. So let me go here. Okay. I'm waiting on, hold on. I got to go back and share the different screen because, all right, let's share. Okay. So you see our allocations, right? Okay. So this is what we received. I think this is important. So last year, our projected enrollment for this school year, when we were doing this budget last year, was 214 students. So we were basing everything off of that, which was an increase to what we had had before. This year, what we're projecting for next year is that we will have fewer students. So 183 students. I want you to take a look at how this kind of shakes out. So as you can see, look at the very last column. That's the difference between these first two tables that you see here. So kindergarten minus 13, first grade minus 2. So you see almost every grade level except fourth grade has a loss. So that loss is spread out. It would be different if it was all in one grade level, but it's not. So because it's spread out, we want to try to keep as much to the student experience as we possibly can. However, I want you to note that look at the poverty line. So while we have fewer students, we still have a great need. If you think about, we're projected to have 183 students, 155 of those being impoverished, we're still gaining or we still need a supplement to be able to ensure that we're able to provide what our students need. So go back to think about that objective one about the culture that we have to make sure that we're able to maintain. Next is the allocation of what we earned for the students in the special programs. So EIP, special education, gifted, ELL. Then I want to take your attention to the small school supplement and the baseline supplement. So the supplement means added on to what we would have already earned. Well, what the district is saying that even though we are a small school, there are still some things that we need to have in place just to try to maintain some semblance of familiarity and consistency. If we went by just what the state gave us as an allocation, we wouldn't have what we need to be able to run school the way we know we usually run school. So we've received a supplement for that. You see that baseline supplement, $450,000. You see the small school supplement, 159,000. So we're earning a supplement just so that we can maintain what we need for this next school year. Do I have everybody with me still? You can nod your head. I can see everybody say yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So now that we've kind of talked about this, thank you, Eli. I thank you for the thumbs up. So now that you can see this, now I want us to kind of have that frame of mind and context before we start to talk about pieces in the budget. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take us back and then I'll bring us, so I'm going to go back to our presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to look at is going to be a summary tab overview. And so this is you'll I want you to know what the columns mean. So there's going to be position, baseline, and the baseline is what has been kind of allocated from the district. Staffed is where we are currently staffed, or the projections of where we would staff. This is kind of what I'm proposing, right? So I'm proposing for FY27 that we staff at this level. And then the fourth column is the difference between the baseline and the staffed. And then the comments will explain if there are any differences and why there are those differences. Okay. So I want to take us through that. Okay, so I'll start at the top with I'm going to just give you a moment to kind of read through it, and then um, I'll do a brief explanation, and you can ask any questions. So I'll start here. Okay, I'm going to move it down. Okay, I'll move it down again. Okay, any question? Let me go through. So the top part are essentially homeroom classes. So you'll see that we're trying to maintain. So the way we currently staff is based on the numbers and the experience that we're trying to provide for students, keeping it at 2 homeroom classes per grade level. So that helps us to maintain the ratio. Um, we are also wanting to maintain the student experience by keeping and the standards of service by keeping all of our enrichments. So still art, music, PE, and world language that meets the standards of service. And then in paraprofessionals, we still need to make sure that in that experience that we're able to where we can reduce the ratio, as well as provide the instructional support across grade levels. And then also, as one of our objectives was about building staff capacity, we have flexibility with coaches to be able to provide that staff capacity, but to also be able to touch students. So that's why it says staff capacity and teaching and learning. So there's flexibility with the coaches to be able to touch students as well as adults. Are there any questions?
When you say ratio, you're just talking about like student to teacher ratio?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
As well, so if you remember from the allocation, in the past, we've had turnaround, for example, turnaround support funds. We've done the things to make the progress that we needed, so we don't have that supplement anymore. So in this, we're also trying to maintain some of the structures that we had in that turnaround process, because we've seen those things to be effective, to be able to keep some of those supports. So finding some creative ways to still be able to keep those supports. So it's really about ensuring that students get what they need and teachers get what they need. And in order to be able to provide that, we've got to ensure that all of the positions that touch kids continue to touch kids. Does that make sense? All right. Now, in doing this, I am going to show you the next piece, which is so I'm going to go back to the presentation. Give me a second. Okay. So now I'm going to show you the non-staffing tab. The non-staffing works in a very similar way. This is what there's a description of each area. Then it's going to be what's recommended by the district that we should spend in that area. What's actually, and then what we're actually allocating, and then the difference of that, and then any notes that are there. Okay. All right. So let's look at our non-staffing tab. So in this non-staffing tab, um, you will notice that in a lot of the allocation up here, there's nothing. But there's nothing because we used all our money for staffing. So much so that we've had to, you'll see here, this difference. So we actually had to utilize some of the reserve that we're saving for next year. So the district automatically gives a reserve. We've had to dip into the reserve to be able to cover the staffing for next year. That's been approved so far by our associate superintendent. But that means that instead of having 61,000, now we've got 50,000 left in that reserve. So everyone, fingers crossed, prayers up, that that we get all of the students so that we don't lose anything and have to give back it into reserve, but we'll actually be able to keep it. Now, materials and supplies. You can't function without materials and supplies, but we have no money for that. However, we've been able to reach out to others to be able to ask for support. So we've been able to use some grant money to be able to get some of those supplies. Also, and that'll also help us in web-based, being able to have some of our curricular pieces as well. But we've also been very fortunate that we've had people to be able to apply for like donors choose and all of that to be able to get other teaching supplies. So stipends is an allocation. This is yellow because this is something that we can't touch. So this is automatically given from the district. So that there's no difference or anything for that because that stays the same. Now the subs and the taxes, the benefits and everything that goes along with that um is there, and that's what the district put in, so that's what we're keeping. Just so that we can accommodate when people are out. Now, going along back to the student experience, the paraprofessionals, we've been able to add some to this non-staffing because that means we're able to still provide the experience, still provide the support, but it reduces the cost because of the benefits. And then we've done the same thing with the art teacher. So we're still able to provide art, it's hourly. So any questions on that? Okay, I'm going to take us back. Okay, so in looking at this as a whole, this is kind of how it all shakes out with the use of the funding. So the bulk of everything is based on instruction, which it should be. Um, and then all of the other pieces of how the supports play into that. Okay. So I was talking earlier about reserve funds. So our reserve funds are now at $50,678. So if we have the opportunity to utilize these funds moving forward at a point next year, this can be what we then put to the materials and supplies and web-based resources where we weren't able to allocate funds there initially. We would be able to then pull in those pieces and not necessarily have to rely on special revenue funds in order to support what we need around resources. Okay, so we are here for time for our discussion. And so this is what will be the questions that I want us to think about and answer. Does the budget proposal support our school's strategic initiative? And our objectives, excuse me, and lead to achieving our goals. If we have new positions or resources or programs that are being added, what data or feedback supports these changes? What trade-offs are being made in this budget? Are any current programs or resources being adjusted or reduced, and how will that impact our students? And if we're sharing staff positions, which we are, how will this affect student support and service delivery at our school? So, any questions or like what does the floor is open for discussion? Any questions or comments or concerns that you have? It's open now. Did I do that good of a job of explaining? There has to be some discussion. We got to vote.
I guess I'll make a comment just that I know it seems like, some hard decisions and trade-offs have to kind of be made. And as a community member and support of everything y'all do, if there's anything we can do to help fill some gaps when it comes to supplies or anything like that, we're happy to do so and at least talk with y'all, see what's needed. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. Noted.
I have a question. So we we officially lost the turnaround funds now. Um, what part is that affecting for our school in the upcoming? So was it able to be supplemented with the because it looks like the what was that? It was one of our supplemental funds for I can't remember the name of it. One of them increased um from last year. It'll be increased from last year. So does that take care of what the turnaround funds were funding previously?
No, so if remember in the allocation, overall, so all those things are small lines that all feed into one budget. So at the difference in the budget from the allocation when we open it is already at a negative. So no, there's no other place to pull to replace.
And so to cover that difference, that's where the money's coming out of the reserve to cover that difference, because it seemed a little bigger than that.
Yes, it's a lot bigger. So that's the reason for some of the movement that you've seen, like with moving positions to hourly, for example, because that takes away the benefit cost, or moving positions around to um, make sure that we still have the teachers, but some of the support staff may. So that's what I was talking about. Some folks that don't, or positions that don't necessarily always touch children. We had to make sure that we were able to fund positions that are touching children. And also, some of those positions, even that are touching children, were shifted. And so they may look different. So it, as opposed to a specialist, for example, it may have had to shift to a teacher because there's a difference in the cost for those positions. So it's not that the necessarily a spot goes away, but the spot looks different.
Because the spot looks different, does that mean that that's a difference? So the whole position it's almost like the current position is abolished and it's a it's just something new, which
Yes.
means okay. So we're trying to operate where we still have what we have to to be successful. You're just kind of moving some stuff around.
Yes. So the objective is to try to have the same number of people touching children that we've always had. That's where you saw the maintained student experience, as well as also adhere to what the district is saying is this is a standard of service. You look like you have another question. You can ask it.
No, I understood. It was still processing. I was trying
Okay.
to get it in my head. So for instance, and I mean, I guess I'm just asking because I am, I'm staff, so I know what we have in the school. Um, will this affect like like we're still trying to have like um our the whole EIP. Like I saw the number
Yeah,
go
so it's even though so the number of EIP drops just because the
right.
enrollment drops, right? But the percentage of EIP still remains the same. And so we still like we have said based on our objectives that we have to ensure mastery at the content in the content areas. We've known that the strategies that we use to get to that growth towards mastery has been a focus on small group instruction, has been a focus on individualized instruction. And we know that in order to maintain that with the population that we have, in order to get the small groups, you've got to have the number of people that actually touch them to create that experience. So, what we're trying to keep is the number of people that touch those students to continue those strategies.
For instance, you're saying like with the like instructional coaches, they won't just be over teachers, they would also be small group people too. And we're
Keeping the
just trying,
same model that
so
we've
we
had.
would be able to still keep the same amount of people that we have, but so that we can still reach our goals. Got it. Okay.
That's the goal. And so try to create a staffing model that supports that.
Are there any other questions for Dr. McIntyre or anything else that needs to be clarified? Or did I ask all of the questions that may have been lingering?
Yes, you asked my question, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. So as a Go team, we provided our input for the budget um, before it is moved forward. Um, so, Dr. McIntyre, are we at the conclusion of our discussion?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so. So I'm gonna go
Okay.
back. I'll go back to the slides so we can see what's. There you
Okay.
go.
So, um, we thank you, Dr. McIntyre, for sharing the information.
Mhm.
Um, we have discussed, everyone has asked all of their questions. Um, we now have to approve our draft budget. So can I get a motion to approve the draft budget?
Motion to approve, Judy Lamore.
A second.
Second, Elijah Sullivan.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye, Jessica Tucker.
I, Judy Lamore.
I, Candace
I,
Allen.
I Ashley Herbert.
Stephanie Powell.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? All right, our draft budget has been approved. So after this meeting, Dr. McIntyre will take the approved draft to the Associate Superintendent and HR Staffing Conference. Following those meetings, we will meet again to review any final updates and vote on our school's final budget recommendation. Okay. Um, we will continue on with our agenda as printed or as emailed to you and as shared with you. We now have our information items from our principal's report. Dr. McIntyre, you have it again.
So I thought I had a principal's report, but I don't. Um, I don't have anything to share. I have announcements. I don't have a report. So I will go to the announcements if that's okay, Miss Tucker Rivers.
Okay, that is the next thing on our agenda. We have announcements and Dr. McIntyre. I'm sorry, you guys. We do not have a cluster advisory report because that meeting was postponed. So that's why you don't see it on the agenda for this meeting. So we will get an update at our next meeting. So Dr. McIntyre, you have announcements. There you go.
Yes, I mainly wanted to give the announcements for the assessments. I really want to kind of note the assessments that are going to be happening, and I also want to put out two things around around parent engagement. And so I want to say that, Miss Judy, I didn't try to leave off Camp Jenny, but I really wanted to kind of put these things in the forefront. So we just completed access testing, which was for our English language learners. And then we are about to go into winter break, so that is next week. I want to note, though, that we will have 2 days, though, the 16th and the 17th will be extended learning days. So although students will not be in the building, they still will be learning. And so devices will go home, assignments will be given through Google Classroom with the expectation that they'll be completed. So we've been communicating that to parents and we'll continue to communicate that. Our Black History program, Roots to Rising, will be February 26th, so you are all invited to that as well. Our district mid-semester checkpoint. So this is kind of our assessment that says content-wise, like content mastery-wise, this is where students are at this particular point. And then we will have what we're calling parent university. So we want to have an opportunity for to engage family and community around what we're doing in class. So we just had APTT to talk about goal setting, but this will be an opportunity for parents to kind of get some insight as to kind of the social emotional things that are happening, behavior wise, all of that that's happening right now, and how we can best um, leverage the home for support with also what's happening at school. This is also an opportunity for us to share kind of what's going on around testing and assessment and how they might also support those efforts as well. So we want to have a virtual option on the 3rd and a in-person option on the 17th. Kind of in between that is our right score assessment. So that's purely reading and writing. To kind of get a handle on where do we to see where our students are at this point with the types of writing and the ways in which they'll be assessed on GMAS. So it kind of gives some insight into that. MAP and AMERA assessments will happen March 23rd through April 3rd. This is, you're familiar with MAP, is math, literacy, as well as science for our 5th grade. But this is not just a mastery of kind of content knowledge, but also really shows us the growth that our scholars are making. So we're able to look at the fall. Where were they in the fall versus where are they in the winter, and then where are they in the spring? So really allowing teachers to see how students are changing and developing and growing over time. Our GAA assessment is April 13th through the 24th. So this is our Georgia Alternative Assessment. This is for the students that are in 3rd through 5th grade who do not take Georgia milestones. So that for our special ed sort of population that's not taking GMAS. However, GAA does count towards CCRPI. So it's important too. And then April 27th through May 27th, we'll be doing Georgia milestones for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students, literacy and math for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and then science for 5th grade only. So those are our announcements.
Are there any other announcements?
Just from you.
Okay, I do have a few. One, Gold Team Declarations is now open. Um, However, our people who are on our board will remain on our board through 2027. So this would apply to anyone who, if you already know that you would be resigning or leaving our school, please let us know so that others can declare candidacy. Also, those of you who have not completed trainings, there's still time to do so. So please make sure that you are logging into your Ellis to complete your trainings. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to myself, Ms. Herbert, or Dr. McIntyre. Or you also have access to the Gold Team office. They are the ones who send you all of these lovely emails that keep you up to date with what's going on with the Gold Team. Okay. Are there any other announcements?
Hey, Miss Tucker, this is Chandra from the Go Team office. I just
Hi,
wanted to,
Chandra.
yeah, no problem. So you guys do have some people who are in even year seats. But
Okay.
but I'm gonna follow up. Actually, I'm now that I'm thinking about it, because with the transition, so I'm not sure how it goes. But
With Diane, she said that they would go to 2027. So that was the only reason I reported it that way. I
okay,
apologize, Miss
yeah, I'll
Chandra.
confirm. Okay, I'll confirm. And I guess if anything is changes about that, then we'll just discuss.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
We are now on the part of our agenda for a public comment, which we have not received anyone to sign up for a public comment. So we have reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time? May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Stephanie Powell, I motion to adjourn the meeting.
A second.
Judy Lamore, second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye, Jessica Tucker.
Aye, Judy Lamore.
I Ashley Herbert.
I, Candace Allen.
I'm Lamumba.
Hi, Elijah Sullivan.
I'm sorry, I was muted. I apologize. Any seconds? Any abstentions? Any opposed? Our meeting is adjourned at 5.